go live. And
Welcome everyone. Welcome to the 31st edition of the Home Theater Hub. Mr. Paul, I see you're cracked and packed over there with the first beverage of the night. What's going on, sir?
Yep, it's been exciting. Didn't do any movie watching this week because I went camping and we had a little microburst land on us, and I think one pop-up shelter survived out of there must have been 6 or 7 people with them. I mean, it just out of nowhere the wind came and just literally some of them just literally wrapped up inside themselves. Some of them just broke an arm. And anyways, it was exciting to say the
Wow.
least. I was really worn out from that. Had to do a lot of coming back, and frankly, I partied pretty hard after we almost died in a microburst. So it was a rough drive back, and then we had to set everything out again because it was still wet from all the rain up there before we packed it up. So we literally spent 4 hours driving back. Well, I guess 2 hours driving back, and then about 3 or 4 hours laying everything out and drying it, repacking it. It was a lot of work. So, and then other than that, the only thing I listened to was I changed the brake fluid on my Indian FTR and took that for a spin one night this week. And man, I'm going to need some better hearing protection. That thing is loud. Like my right ear, I was like, man, why does my right ear kind of, it's like, oh, that's the exhaust side. That's why. I was kind of giving it a little hell, more so than normal.
That's what it's for, though. Break it in, right? Ride it a little bit. So, what about you, Mr. Ike? What's going on with you this week?
nothing. All I did was work, all work and no play this week. So.
Why do you sound like Rihanna over there?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the way work dealt with me this week. But it's been a busy, long week. So, kind of looking forward to the weekend and so I can edit some videos I was able to make during the week, and I can get to relax and then dial in the home theater all over again. And Paul, I might be reaching out to you as always. So I promise you, I'll get you that bottle I owe you when I get the cancer soon. So. Need some subwoofer calibration done, and yep.
Yeah, no, it's been a pretty busy week for me also. I've been watching the NBA final and also the hockey final because Florida Panthers is literally a stone throw away from my house. So it's maybe about 15 miles from my house. So been watching them. But other than that, hadn't watched a lot of movies, but I did get some special treats in.
Ooh, what is that? Oh, wow.
That is
the Tom Cruise. Yeah, is that a special edition or what?
This is from Germany. So this is a 3D version. So I got that. I also got the Minions in 3D.
Oh, nice. That would be cool. Yeah.
So you don't tell me 3D's dead. And then I got
it might be if you have to buy it from Germany, but
I mean, Oro 3D's not dead, and it's in Germany, right?
It's in Germany
wait,
too.
No, it is dead. It went bankrupt.
So no, I picked those up. It was actually a surprise in the mail today because I forgot I actually ordered them. It took
like 2 weeks. What website do you get them from? Amazon,
oh gosh,
Germany,
I'd have to look on my Facebook to see because I belong to a 3D group for Facebook.
Yeah.
So we always talk about where you can pick these up. Usually it's Japan, France, or Germany somewhere, and I forgot where this was through, but it's definitely a special place. Like there used to be a place called Random Space out of Australia that had them. But yeah, no, it's I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up on my Facebook before the end of the show. But just going to go ahead and bring our guest up for today because I know he's got a little bit of limited time tonight. So
Yep.
go ahead and bring our guest up.
Let's get our special guest in.
A man that needs no introduction. I
Yep.
can tell you that. At least not in this crowd.
He's the VVIP of the home theater world. So, hello, Mr.
Well,
Nick.
I'm blushing over here. You guys are too much. And I have to say, you are prolific. I mean, I see how long you guys go streaming for. And we did our happy hour earlier tonight, and we cut it off at an hour. So I have nothing but respect for the energy that you bring and how you're able to sustain this week after week. And
I
for,
might have to
2 hours.
quit and come over to your happy hour.
I know, because
Our mantra is leave a morning more. You know,
I
and it's
think
like,
I think you're the problem half the time. Now,
Oh, that's probably true.
because left to Paul and I will be here for 1 hour, but Don will. Right before we got it, I was like, Don,
He knows
Nick,
how to push
Nick
my
just
button.
had his live stream
That's
a
what he
couple of
does.
hours ago, so we got to keep it short. He was like, "Oh, he did a live stream." I said, "Yes, they do it every Thursday. Remember?"
well, I gave a nice shout out to you guys. So hopefully we'll get some of the SVS crew over here as well.
Awesome,
But I really appreciate you guys having me on.
yeah, no, we definitely appreciate that. So, Nick, I don't know if you remember or not, but I actually met you at the Florida Expo,
Mhm.
very, very, very briefly, and we had some discussions about the new speakers and maybe some possibilities later down the road. But give us a little background about yourself to our audience that's not familiar with you guys, which I don't think there's very many people in our audience that would not be familiar with you. But just give us a little bit of background about yourself and, when you got started and how you got started into this space.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was working at a PR agency about 18 years ago now, geez, and representing a bunch of CEDIA brands, Krell, Martin Logan, Paradigm, Nuvo was one of them, URC. So very much entrenched in this CE, consumer electronics and CEDIA world. And so I had the opportunity to eventually work with SVS as a client. And, of all the brands that I had ever sort of been associated with, I kind of just saw how well of an oiled machine they were, from, customer service to the products that we were getting reviewed, to the management, to the, communication. And, I had the opportunity to go to visit the office in Youngstown. And I just sort of was like, this is the kind of place that I want to settle in my career, because, at an agency, you're sort of feeding many bosses, or you have like a lot of mouths to feed. There's all these different clients coming and going, and you're constantly like in limbo. So the idea of working with a single brand really was appealing to me. And I managed to make the transition. My current wife actually ended up taking over as VP of Caster Communications, the PR agency I was with, which is the best move that ever happened, because trading her for me was like such an upgrade for them. So I think it all sort of, karmically worked out in both company's favor. And since, about 10 years, I've been with SVS to this day, and I got no plans of going anywhere soon. I think this industry has a way of like sinking its teeth in you, and you never really want to leave. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yep,
So-
it is an industry built around passion and enjoyment, frankly,
Fun, yeah.
So yeah, it's just straight up fun. That's why it's easy to get sucked in, especially if you work in it. So
Yeah, what's the saying? You never work a day in your life if you do
You
something
what
that
you're
you
doing.
what you're
like.
passionate about,
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever
So,
it says. Yeah.
sure.
so prior to you doing the PR, I guess, firm, or when you were representing a bunch of companies, how did you get into the speaker or audio AV space?
Yeah, so my parents had a big vinyl collection. I mean, I remember the sort of, they had the two speakers with the tape deck with the equalizer and the, turntable built on top of it. So they weren't like truly into hi-fi, but there was always music playing in my house. And then when I got to college, we, I guess you could call it, fell victim to the white van. I don't know if you guys know about the white vans.
Oh yeah,
That drive around college campuses, and they bring like the big PA speakers, and they're like, you know what, these are normally $800 a pair, but you know what, we like got this off a warehouse, whatever, and it's like, we'll give them to you guys for
we
a
have
buck.
an extra one.
Yeah, and so we set those up, and we thought we were the coolest shit like out there, like with these PA speakers in our little dungeon apartment that we had in college. I wouldn't say my listening preferences were very sophisticated at that point, but we would play Grand Theft Auto and just bump whatever kind of music we wanted. So that was sort of the continuation into college. And then when I got out of there and finally settled in my own home, I got more into the hi-fi game and had a couple different brands that I sort of worked towards. And I was fortunate enough through my PR job to score some sweet paradigms and some other gear from clients that I had worked with. And now, I'm sort of currently a little bit in flux with the new speakers. I haven't even got them in here yet because the models I'm getting just started shipping earlier this week. But there's going to be some transition in this room behind me in the next month or so.
Nice.
So that the room we're looking at, is that your theater, or is that a living room setup? We can see the couches and like an ottoman and stuff like that.
Yeah, so this actually was built about 2 years ago as my office because I work primarily from home, when I'm not traveling. And, I'm like, I'm just gonna make an office. Like, I have a dedicated home theater. I got all the gear. So we sort of extended it out. So this where I'm sitting is like a desk and office area. And then the other side of the room, it's got the big sectional couch there. You can kind of see it. Height effect speakers up there. I'm doing a terrible job here, but so this became sort of a project to be able to bring new product in, create content up here as well. I got the little mini bar you can see behind me, the BDI furniture. So it's just sort of a nice little getaway for the family, to have a secondary best viewing, best sounding experience in the house. And like I said, there's going to be some changes coming soon, which I'm really excited about.
So are you for your display, are you using a TV, or are you using projector for that?
Yeah,
In
that's
that room?
it's a LG 77 inch that I picked up. I'm more about the sound, but yeah,
Obviously.
it's a good size for this room. And yeah, it's treated me well. But I will not rule out getting a short throw or something like that. It's a fairly narrow space here. It's sort of long and skinny, so I probably need like a short throw to make it work. But for now, I think the display's working just fine.
Hey, it's whatever you like, right? So if you're comfortable with it, then that's what we try to preach here. You don't have to try to play catch up to the Joneses, right? Just if you got a TV that you enjoy, sit down and enjoy a space, and you can transport to a different location while watching something, or become immersed, in your system. By all means, whatever it takes to please you, right? So that's what we always try to preach here. You don't want to extend yourself too far if it's not necessary, right? So,
No doubt. And, suspend disbelief. That's what our CEO is always saying. Like, that is the term that he uses. And, I think the next step here will be, the new speakers, but also some acoustic treatments. It's a bit of, I wouldn't say an echo chamber. Putting in the blinds helped, but there definitely could be a little bit more acoustic treatment to just kind of get that perfect fit. And I mean, I love the fact that it becomes this sort of process or it's an evolution. I'm dropping the speaker name, but like just this progression of making incremental improvements, and that's part of what the whole fun of this hobby is you don't have to ever really stop. Even if you get to that end game, there's always something that you could upgrade or find a little bit of extra fidelity from doing.
well, since you dropped the name, let's go ahead. All right, go ahead and let's
Nice
pull
segue
those
there.
up.
Yeah,
So,
so I mean, they've been out for a couple months, and they dropped in March. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to interrupt you there if you had a
no,
question.
you're fine. Go ahead.
So, I mean, really, the Ultra Evolution series, they're, I mean, what we're saying is they're the culmination of everything that SVS has sort of learned and discovered about engineering and speaker design since our inception. We really started off as a subwoofer company. We made our first full range Ultra Series speakers about 12, 13 years ago. They were really successful for us. They helped put us, on the map as not just a subwoofer brand. But, I think there were, especially with the towers, they were, what's a nice way to put it? They could be a little divisive. They had sort of a trapezoidal shape. They had these dual 8-inch woofers in the base of them, and they weren't the easiest to place. And so I think, for the 2-channel enthusiast, they were sort of a mixed bag. They did great with our home theater crowd, but with these new speakers, we really tried to take a lot of new technologies and create something that was completely different than before. but still living up to the SVS mantra of bringing, that kind of world-class performance at, very, very competitive prices. The first thing I think a lot of people notice when they look at them is that curved front baffle. And we're not the first brand to have ever done that, and certainly people have compared them to other models that have that. It's called acoustically centered time alignment, and essentially what we've done is lined up the sonic emanation point of all the drivers and the tweeters, so where the sound's actually coming out of them, in a vertical plane. And what that allows us to do is ensure the sound reaches the listener's ear at the exact same instant. Now, typically that's done through the crossover and adding like micro delays to create that sort of effect. But by physically aligning them, you're making them just that much more accurate. It really provides a rock solid image, so you can kind of see sound in space with your ears, and create just a really nice broad soundstage as well. So that was one big element. It's not an easy thing to fabricate as far as a speaker cabinet goes, which is why typically it's reserved for much more expensive speakers. The Pinnacles you're looking at are 5K. The step down, the Titans are 4K a pair, and then the Ultra Evolution Towers, which just started shipping, are 3,000 a pair. And really, as far as I know, this is about as entry level pricing as you can get for this sort of cabinet design. But we didn't want to just make a new cabinet and call it a day. So there was a couple other things that we did as well with the tweeter specifically. We took our aluminum dome tweeter, and I think the one knock, if you want to call it that, on metal dome tweeters is they can perhaps sometimes be a little fatiguing. They're very lightweight. They're very revealing. They have a lot of great sonic qualities. So what we did was take the benefits of them and keep all of that, but through a process called vapor deposition, added a layer of diamond carbon dust actually to the exterior of the tweeter. And that really made it much more rigid without adding much mass. So you get that lightweight. They're still very revealing and airy. And here's the word that I hate using, but my boss uses it all the time: effervescent. I'm not sure what an effervescent tweeter is, but it's a buzzword, so I'm going to use it. But it raises the breakup frequency. So essentially that diamond carding, making that much more rigid, brings it up to about 40,000 hertz, which, is beyond the threshold of human hearing. But that breakup point, bringing it to that level reduces any kind of distortion or fatiguing aspects to a metal dome tweeter, which was, again, I think one of the biggest improvements we made over the previous version of the Ultra Tower. And I'll stop there and take a breath in case anyone has questions. And then we can talk about the woofers too, because that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and the Titans weigh around 70 pounds, right, per speaker.
Yeah, the Pinnacles are about 100 pounds. The Titan, I think, are between 70 and 80 pounds. And yeah, they're a fairly sizable speaker. It's they take command of a room for sure.
Now, are all of the bass drivers powered and crossover implemented, or are some of those passive radiators?
No, they're all active. I mean, there's no internal amplification within the speaker itself, but they are all active woofers. And they actually move in what we call a force balance array. So they go in together and they go out together. So when you're talking about inside the cabinet, that, and this is based on our 3000 micro design, or the one subwoofer we make that has dual woofers. We really sort of borrowed the technology from that. But inside the cabinet, that effect essentially cancels out any sort of resonance, vibrational energy, things that could add distortion or shake the cabinet, because of that energy is basically canceled out from the drivers moving in and moving out together. But when you go outside the cabinet and you have a pair of these speakers towed in, you essentially have 8 woofers firing in all different directions throughout the room. And what that does is obviously create very authoritative, effortless bass, but also smooths out some of those room modes, so you don't have peaks and nulls that are quite as severe, because there's just much greater bass wave or low frequency wave density throughout the listening area because of those 8 woofers all firing in different directions.
And
I have a question about the rear of the speaker here. Mm-hmm. So, you kind of mentioned that you wanted to try to involve the 2-channel crowd a little bit more with this design. How is this working with, and back to your home theater crowd, right? Because if you got the speakers, I guess, firing into the front wall or into a screen, or, into if you're towing them, maybe even into a sidewall, how far out do these speakers have to be pulled out for them not to be giving, like the reflect to interfere with themselves? Do you know that answer?
Yeah, that I mean it's a great question, and you'll see the natural curvature of the rear of the cabinet as well. So that gives you a little built-in clearance from the ports on like any kind of boundary that you have them near. I would typically say you want to start at about 6 to 8 inches. If you can give them that much room from a boundary, that's going to be ideal. And then pulling them out more, just like with any speaker, giving them a little room to breathe is going to help them open up a bit. But I'd say, if you can give them 6 inches or so from the rear wall, that's a great starting point. And, the woofers, they don't move that much. Like, I've played these things at reference volume, and like the woofers don't really move because there's four of them. So it's like, it's not like a single woofer that's has a ton of actual motion in it. They're moving a lot of air, but it's, split up between the four. And it's a very balanced speaker. We didn't make it like, overly bass heavy, but we wanted, we know SVS fans, and we know that people who own our products a lot of times like to play them at significant volumes, and they want to be able to play them for a long time. So that was one of the reasons why we wanted to create a speaker that could really provide that authoritative, effortless bass and fill a room, but still have a lot of that balance and be able to have the refinement that I think the two-channel crowd is all about.
I have a
Yeah, I was curious about that with the rear firing. I mean, I know Def Tech has done that for a long time. There's other speaker brands out there that have put the a rear firing speaker on the cabinets too. So I was just curious. I own the Martin Logans now, and they also have a port and everything else that's on the rear of the speaker. So just curious about that.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great question, and it's one of the most frequently asked is like, how close to the wall can I put these? And again, that natural curvature helps, build in some distance, but I'd say again, 6 to 8 inches is a great starting point.
Yeah, they look great. And as far as the enclosure itself, on those two ports, are those separate cabinets, and are they separately tuned ports? And the other question I would have is there an option to seal those ports? So that's really three questions.
No, so the ports themselves, the woofers are in their own enclosure within the cabinet, but the separate woofers are not. So all the woofers are sort of in its own enclosure, and I think I have a 3D viewing of it. I can see if I can pull it up. But the mid range is in its own sealed enclosure, and then the tweeter is in its own sealed enclosure. But all four woofers share the same, I guess you could call it, sub cabinet within the actual cabinet itself, and they do have a. What was the other question about the crossover? Or
The other question was
plugging it. Yeah,
the two ports.
Mm-hmm.
Are they tuned at separate frequencies, and can they be ran in a sealed mode at all?
So we do not recommend running them in sealed mode. We've already had people playing with it and saying that it sounds great, but we don't provide like the port plugs like we do with our subwoofers. Gotcha. And have the app where you can actually change the tuning frequency. Yeah. So yeah, there's it's not something that we've actively recommended, but people like to play with it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I was just curious. And the two ports, are they tuned at the same frequency, or are those separate?
Those are separate frequencies. Yeah.
Okay. So, that's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of engineering and thought going into the shape, the design, and the enclosure, and I
mean, there's little things too.
Price is more than the previous model. I mean, and I don't know that it's that much more, compared to what other people or companies are selling for similar, designed speakers.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why we wanted to do 3 different versions of the tower, because the Pinnacle, the largest one, is seems to be adopted more by the two-channel enthusiasts. They don't even want to pair it with a subwoofer generally because it has such capable low frequency extension down to 23 hertz. So, a lot of people with their listening, it doesn't, there's not a lot of content down that low for music. And then, the Titan and the Tower, the smaller one, we're finding is being used in a lot of home theater systems. So it's interesting to see how it's the progression has taken the different models, and I think again that's why we wanted to have three different ones, because with the original Ultra series I feel like there was almost you're almost feeling like limited a little bit in what you could do, and they it wasn't always practical to put those that design in certain rooms. But with these now, they have like sort of a small, medium, large version for whatever listening space you have. And if you're going home theater, a lot of times you're pairing it with the subwoofer, so you can go with the smaller one and use whatever savings you get from that to invest in front end equipment or a sub. And yeah, so but even things like the diffuser on the front of the tweeter, like we went through 25 different versions of that, and like I have this like weird obsession with it because I just love the like organic sort of look to it, but it provides better dispersion characteristics, and we really kind of wanted to take a no stone left unturned approach, and that was just another sort of detail that really we didn't want to overlook anything.
So, are you able to give us the differences between the three towers? You have the let's see, we have the Ultra
The
Evolution
Pinnacle,
Pinnacle, then we
Titan.
have the Titan, and then the Ultra Evolution, right? So, what are the differences between the two? Are there different driver sizes? Are there different wattages that they can handle? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what the differences are. Is you have the largest one has 8-inch woofers. I believe there's 5 1/4 mid ranges, and then they all share the same 1-inch tweeter. So it's the difference between the driver sizes, the cabinet shape and design, and all the sort of technology stories I just went through are consistent through all three models. But you get just larger driver sizes, and the biggest difference between them really is the low frequency extension and the dynamic output. The fidelity, the actual like sonic qualities of them are equivalent as far as what you're getting from the upper register and things like that. Just the larger one digs a little bit deeper and plays a little bit louder. But aside from that, it's the driver size, and then the power. They can all take somewhere between 40 and 300 watts. So obviously the larger one's going to benefit more from a better power supply. But that's those are really the main differences: just cabinet size, driver size, and then the low frequency extension and output.
Yeah, there's actually a comparison chat on the website. You are able to compare all three speakers. So if you go up to the speaker tab, I just click on the Ultra Evolution speakers, the very top, yeah. And then if you scroll down, you should be able to just scroll down to each and click compare. So you should
Yep.
see a compare to the right of the screen beside
Oh
each
yeah, I
speaker,
see.
and then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we'll
So
show you
you
see
can,
up some of
yeah,
the recommendations, the dimensions, frequency response, all of that for a little bit
yeah.
easier view when you're
So you should be
making that
able to
comparison.
pull all three speakers and do a comparison
I
there.
mean, you can just buy all
So
three
so
pairs.
which of them are you getting, Nick? So
Decide what you want with
which
the
of them are you
SVS
getting, the
return
Pinnacles
program.
for your space, or you go with the Titan?
The Pinnacles I think would be overkill for this room. I'm probably gonna go with the Ultra Evolution Towers. I was set on the Titans in white gloss because they're just so beautiful. But I think I'm gonna go with the smaller one. I think it's gonna be fine in this room. I'm gonna upgrade the elevations that I have on my ceiling to the Ultra elevations,
Yep.
the center channel. I'll probably keep the same surrounds I have on my rear wall. They're the Ultra surrounds from the original series, but they're already mounted, and they work phenomenally. And all of our speakers are timbre matched, so you could mix the Prime, the Ultra, and the Ultra Evolution series together. So I'll probably keep the surrounds I have, add the height effects, add the front stage, and call it a day. But I'm sort of like torn between getting the white gloss towers because they look so damn good, and I've always said I would never get a white gloss center just because reflections and whatever. But they just look so good. I'm trying to convince myself, just to go for it. So that will be
You
the
can
next
always
big decision.
put a felt, topper on the speaker.
So, are the
That's
colors available
That
in
one
all of
time,
the
yeah.
are
Yes.
the white gloss and like ash finish, are they available in all the speakers?
Yes, all of the Ultra Evolution models will be available in the black oak, the piano gloss black, and the piano gloss white. I think we're like you're seeing here, we're out of stock on some of them. The white gloss
Okay.
is selling a little bit better than I think we planned for. But we're hard at work building more. But yeah, we sold out of a couple of the finishes, and yeah, but all 7 models will be available in all 3
Yeah,
finishes.
that white is definitely.
Yeah, the speakers are beautiful, man. That's
Being
one
out of
thing you
stock is
can.
a good problem to have for a
Is
company.
that is that a gloss white or is that a matte white?
It's a gloss white.
Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, that's so many people. There, it's different. It's definitely more appealing to a lot of people because it makes it look more like furniture as opposed
Hmm.
to a speaker or like art, not necessarily.
Yeah,
You know,
and
for
No doubt.
if you get it for like a 2 channel setup, it's just gonna look
yeah,
beautiful. I could just imagine having the gloss whites
You
for
know, and one of
for
the
a
So
things
2 channel setup.
we're finding in the European market, I mean, they've always been big on lighter colored,
Yeah,
exotic wood speakers, things like that. Like that, the finish alone has helped us open a lot of doors with some of our distribution partners over in Europe and some of what they're able to sell now, because of all things being equal. When you're on the fence between 2 models, a lot of times it comes down to, well, which one do I like to look at better? And you hate to like boil it down to that when you're talking about audio, but it's a real thing for some people. And I think
yeah,
the visual appeal that these have, even with the magnetic grills, the first time we have done magnetic grills and not had like the pin cup retention system, like these are little details that if you're on the fence can help make the difference. And
yeah,
again, it was something that we wanted to focus on really because the 2 channel opportunity is huge, and as much as
yeah,
we love home theater, I know all you guys love home theater, I do too, that's my preference. I'm seeing the opportunity with 2 channel as for speakers of this kind. It's
yeah,
it's a bigger pool.
yep. 2 channel people, as far as like company and marketing wise, 2 reasons. One, generally 2 channel people have more money and they're only buying 2 speakers. So
yeah.
they spend more money on 2 speakers. So from a corporate standpoint, nothing to do with SVS particular, it's every company, you can essentially build in more profit that way. I mean, because a home theater person like me, I can't buy
9 Titans,
12
right?
12 ultra
Well, you
evolution
can.
towers to mount. That'd be a lot of
I
money.
can, but I'm gonna sleep
I
outside if
mean,
I do.
Yeah.
if I'm going that route, I'm gonna automatically go to something like Myers Sound. You know what I mean? An actual theater production, company at that point. If you're spending that much, but yes, but those don't look good, right? Comparatively,
No,
they're
these speakers are
monster.
beautiful,
They're
and I've
beautiful.
actually heard them. I've actually heard them at the Florida Expo, and I tell you what, they're definitely the real deal. I really enjoyed he Nick. What you had? What, like a 5.2.4 setup there or something like that at the Florida Expo, if I'm correct?
Yeah, it
Maybe
was a five 2.
5.2.2.
Yeah, it was the smaller hotel room, so we just had 2 of the height effects. But yeah, that was our setup, and I don't even think we were doing 2 channel switching in there. But we've realized with these shows, so many people want to hear these in stereo. Like we were just at the home entertainment show out in Costa Mesa, and we're typically the guilty pleasure. People come in, they hear Godzilla versus Kong and Mission Impossible and Mad Max, and like that's the room to come experience home cinema at these 2 channel shows. But here, because of these speakers specifically, people are coming in and making requests, and we had a switcher, so we were able to go between 2 channel home theater, but we were doing 85% demos in stereo. And taking requests, and it's a lot of fun. It helps for one because I hear the same tracks over and over in the movies. It's like we got our curated list of movies, but because of these speakers equip themselves really well to all kinds of music, we've started taking requests, and that's not normal at these kind of shows. You typically have like, these are the tracks that sound good with my speakers. This is what I'm going to play. But like we had all sorts of I learned a whole bunch of new artists just from being here. We did the same thing in Munich, but for me, they're kind of addictive sounding. Like you sit there for 8 hours a day, you're playing demos. Like I'd like to hear different music, But like I said, like when people come in and they get to hear their reference tracks and I get to hear different music, it makes it a lot more fun for me, and I can, put a smile on somebody's face if
And
they're hearing things they've never heard before.
that says a lot to a customer, because you're right. A lot of these 2-channel, it's, I want to show off what this is best at. Like if you're whatever you're any product you use, right? Everything has its, things that maybe back up a little, but for somebody in a speaker company to say, hey, whatever you want to listen to, we'll play it. Because I don't know, especially during the actual show, of any high-end speaker company that is willing to do that, because they want to show off what it's the best at. They don't want to show off any of the limitations. Everything has limitations. But in order for someone to be so confident to say, yeah, that you listen to it, sure, everything has its limitations, but we don't care. We know they're going to sound good. Have at it. Especially if, you pair them with some of your, gigantic subwoofers that everybody already loves. So it's like, okay, now there's no limitations. Now what do you want to do?
So I'm looking at the center speaker here, and you guys chose to go with a 3-way design in this. Can you talk a little bit about why you chose to go with a 3-way versus a 2-way for the center channel?
Yeah, we've only ever made a 3-way center channel speaker. And, I think the prevailing sentiment around 3-ways is, by having the drivers arrayed like they are, you just get a much broader sweet spot. You don't have that sort of beaming effect where, if you're off axis, maybe you lose some of the dialogue intelligibility or you lose some of that vocal clarity. So, by having the tweeter arranged above the mid range, it just, creates a broader area where that, that vocal clarity is just, better off axis listening essentially. So that was really why we did it this way, and why I think we'll only ever do 3-way style center channel speakers.
And do you use the same 6.5 that you would use, I guess, in the Titan? And does that same 6.5, will that timber match all the way around with
Absolutely. Yep, same exact driver.
products?
Inside, I think the basket's a little bit different, because of the shape of the actual cabinet versus the Titan. But same driver, timbre matched across the board with all models and even previous models that we've made. Yeah, it's a very capable center channel, and I would say this was probably the hardest one to make better than the original Ultra Center, because of how capable the previous version was.
Right.
But with the tweeter and some of what we were able to do in the high frequencies and how important those are in a center channel speaker, that's really where I think there's, the biggest difference between the two models, the original one and the new Evolution Center, is in those high frequencies. There is a little bit more dynamic output, a little better low frequency extension, but I think you really notice it in, that high frequency range.
So it looks like the bookshelf has a continuation of the same 6.5 also, and the same 1-inch dome tweeter. So, if you're trying to match perfectly, maybe the Titans might be the best way to go, right? Because you're not using the Evolution Pinnacle have the 8-inch woofers in them, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And I think this is another reason why these are being embraced as much as they are by the audiophile crowd, because they don't really require a subwoofer, and then why the Titans and the Towers are more being embraced by the home theater crowd, because they do match up really, really well with the center and the bookshelves if you're going to use those in the nanos for surrounds. So yeah, there's definitely a matching quality there that I think makes them appealing for the home theater crowd.
So is there the height speakers? Are they also in the new Ultra Evolution line, or is that the older? Is that the other model? I won't say older because they're phenomenal too, because I've heard them. But are they in the Evolution line also, the angled speakers? The
Yeah, so
Ultra.
we still have our prime elevation, and now we didn't want to call it, just because it makes you sound like you're drunk, the ultra evolution elevation. Like it's like kind of ridiculous. I mean, the name itself, you know, that's one thing people have had fun with us. You know, we like our long names, but ultra evolution elevation was, I think, a bridge too far. So this does have all the same, you know, technology I was talking about with the tweeter and all that, and it's a larger cabinet than the prime elevation, larger driver. The nice thing is it has the same exact mounting hardware. We provide a bracket where essentially you just screw the bracket into a stud either on your wall or ceiling, and then just hang the speaker from that bracket. It's very sturdy, very stable, but you can essentially just take out your prime and then hang the ultra there, as long as you have enough clearance away from the wall or on the ceiling. Um, you know, so there is the easy path to upgrade and not have to drill any more holes. But yeah, this one is definitely more capable, better dynamic output, deeper low frequency extension. I mean, we had somebody buy 9 of these and just use these for every channel in his home theater. He
Wow.
used them angled up, sitting on the floor for the front, left, center, right. He had them on their side because the bracket allows you to mount them on their side for his side surrounds. And then he had 2 on the ceiling, and then I guess 2 in the rear, if that's 9. And yeah, because the bracket allows you to mount them at any angle, it creates the opportunity to solve a lot of problems when you don't have that perfect room, or if you don't want to have, you know, speakers actually on the floor.
I know this ones are tempting me because I've been looking at them and like maybe I want to go back to on ceiling versus in ceiling Atmos speakers. They look pretty tempting.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Prime, those have been some of our most popular speakers because they're
Yeah,
very neutral and they get mixed with a lot of other brands,
yeah.
because it is almost, you know, close to being a full range surround speaker. And you know, when you're talking about some of these, you know, toppers for Atmos where they bounce the sound off the ceiling, you know, they frequency response limit those, so you're already starting with somewhat compromised solution. The recessed tweeter sort of gives you a very narrow area where it actually can bounce off the ceiling and reach the listening area, convincing you of sound overhead. And then obviously in ceilings, you know, while they've come a long way, they're still never going to compete with a full-on cabinet
Oh,
speaker.
yeah,
So
Right.
you
definitely.
know, when you're talking about especially a lot of the new cinema that's coming out with just the amazing height effects that they've mixed into it, a product like this really gets the most out of it.
Okay, Nick,
So
now I'm sold now.
so
Yeah, I do
Now I
all
need 6 of
bookshelves.
send
them.
him 9 of them.
No, I don't need
Yeah.
9.
Done.
I
Your
don't need
3,000
9.
in wall,
I
you
just
good.
need 6. But yeah, yeah,
Send him an invoice, Nick. Send him an
I
invoice.
know, right?
It's already in your PayPal. We already got that signed up.
Yeah.
So
Done.
My
I
wife
do
is
have a
downstairs watching. Don't get me in trouble.
I do have another question for you for these Ultra Evolutions. If somebody wanted to use them like on top of say the Titans, can they use them to kind of bounce off the ceiling if they wanted to?
We don't recommend it. We do have people do it for, you know, a lot of different reasons, but it's just never going to be as convincing. You know, it just will not match. And you know, the having them on the front stage above your speakers, you know, directly overhead on the sidewalls, there's like a lot of options. So again, people do it, but we'll always try to talk them out of it if there is any other opportunity to put them, you know, either on a wall, on a stand, or some other way.
All right, well, let's talk about at the top here 45-day risk free in home trial. Let's talk about your warranty and the actual trial period that you have here. I mean, I guess it's kind of self-explanatory. Does that include shipping both ways if I decide to forego my purchasing decision after I've purchased them with you?
Yes, absolutely. You know, I think one of the things SVS really tries to pride itself on is, you know, our consumerism policies. I guess you could call them. We call it our customer bill of rights. But you know, free shipping both ways. You get the 45 days, and actually, we do have a trade up program as well. It's a lot more beneficial if you've got your original boxes, because we don't give you free boxes, but it's an opportunity for you if you don't want to sell them, you know, in the outside market, to return your original speakers, whether they're prime or ultra. And you know, every case is different. You know, we got to see the condition of them, but it's an opportunity for people to make the upgrade path with a little less stress. And you know, we have you know, like you said, free shipping both ways. It's a year unconditional warranty. Off the record, although I guess we're live, so this is not off the record, but like we always extend it. Like somebody calls us 6 years later and something's happened, we try to take care of people in every possible scenario. And again, our support team is very much in tune with trying to help people get an upgrade and find a pathway to do that if folks really want to try it. So, I think those are some elements. And then we have a loyalty program. We have a lot of different things that go into that customer bill of rights that, again, make it sort of rewarding and, beneficial to be a lifelong owner.
Yeah, I have had nothing but good experience, and I've never heard anyone, complain. I mean,
about SVS customer
I
service,
don't,
right?
yeah, I don't, I don't want anybody to abuse it, obviously, but it's so good. It's just at this point, I don't even think SVS sees anybody abusing the warranty policy. It's just like, oh, yeah, okay, we stand behind our stuff, and it's great to hear that.
Appreciate you saying that, Paul. And it extends pretty far too. Like we do in-room video consultations, like essentially a Zoom where you show them, I'm thinking about placing it there. I got, a wall over here. I'm showing you menu settings on my AV receiver, what I'm supposed to tweak. And they'll sit on the phone for half an hour and answer these questions. And, one of the best reviews I read on our site was like, it's like having an old friend at the hi-fi store that, closed down 30 years ago. You can just call them up and chat. And there are people who do just call up and chat and be like, hey, Ed, he's our director of technology who runs the CS department. He's like, oh, I just watched whatever, like, the new Dune. And it's like, my subwoofers are, and like, they just like sort of gush. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Is this a technical request or no, I just wanted to tell you. And they're like, all right, well, we got this queue of people who might actually have a return or, a technical.
Yeah. That is tough. That is
just
tough.
email me next time. It's cool. But, we love that. It shows
Good
passion.
to hear,
And,
though.
we only want to stoke that. So,
Yep.
it's all good.
That's amazing, and that's just it. You can be polite, and because like I know Google Fiber is kind of the same way. Like anytime I have an issue and I get to talking, and yeah, they're like, oh yeah, and they're never like, oh hey, I can't talk to you, blah blah blah. So that's good because that's real customer service,
Paul feels lonely and he calls Google Fiber technical support.
I've had to call them. I think I've had to call them like maybe 5 times ever in the last 10 years, and 4 of those 5 was because someone cut the damn fiber.
Paul's like, I just want to let you know that I fixed your whatever outside for you. Don't even bother sending a service guy.
I know.
Yeah,
Right?
I fixed this neighborhood. No, I don't
So
do
quickly,
that.
Nick, the bookshelves and the Nano, right? What's the difference?
Let me go back to them.
Yeah, they're just the size. The Nano's a little bit smaller. So, much like the towers, you're going to get a little bit better low frequency extension and more dynamic output with the Ultra Evolution bookshelf. And I think, the Nano was important for us. One, for near field listening, we knew a lot of people would want to, for smaller rooms, have a solution they could pair with a sub and have that, sort of near field listening solution. And also, we didn't do a dedicated surround that you can mount on your wall. We had the dipole bipole solution with the original series. And this is something that obviously would have to be put on a stand as a rear surround speaker. But it's just a little bit more compact package, a little bit more affordable for people who want to use it in that surround, but also in a smaller listening space.
Okay.
Yeah, you got an option for every listener.
So would these work well for like a desktop? Like a desktop,
I think so.
or
that's really what one of the markets we were looking at is that sort of desktop scenario where you'd have them towed in at a pretty steep angle and you're sort of sitting in that quad equilateral triangle where your desk is at, or on any furniture really, but in a smaller sized room,
like a monitor type of speaker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So quickly, we have a question just before we move on. Are subwoofers eligible for the trade-in program also?
Yep, as long as it's an SVS subwoofer, we're not going to take back your other brand, but yes, you have an SVS sub. And like I said, it's
It's
best if
like,
you have
oh
the
I got
man,
original
my
a,
piece.
I
servo
got
came.
a
We're gonna make my servo
1997 Kenwood sitting in the
Hey,
closet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
I
was
got
gonna
these
say,
can
man,
I
I,
can
Belgian
I get
beer
a pair of
stickers with this.
PV16s for my Kenwood?
that'd
Can
be
I get an
amazing.
even swap? Yeah, for my
Yeah.
soundbar sub that I just don't like. Yeah, no, sorry.
And
Um,
if Nick says yes, I'll personally drive down and go pick them
So the
up.
subwoofer swap is
The
yeah,
trade-in, yeah.
any one of our
trade in
models.
also.
Again, it's a
Just
case
straight.
by case basis, so it's not like there's these rigid rules. It's just a matter of reaching out to our customer service team. They'll walk you through the process. You gotta have packaging to send them back in, and then essentially they'll work with the individual to find a solution that works.
So my guess is, since I'm sitting here looking at this, that those trade-ins would end up in the outlet store after being looked at and possibly refurbished a little bit. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep. Typically,
Mhm.
that's where we'll sell the returned goods.
And or a
Um,
lot of stuff can be like some of the drivers, since they use a lot of the same drivers and
Can probably be
magnet
reused.
structures
Yep.
and stuff like that. That all that stuff costs a lot of money for companies, so they can reuse a lot of that stuff.
Yep, and it's nice because we have what's called a URP. So our products are the same price whether you buy them on Crutchfield, Amazon, Best Buy, svsound.com. But the outlet gives us an opportunity to do some sales, and we'll do additional discounting in the outlet on President's Day, Memorial Day, certain holidays, which just lowers the cost of entry to SVS. But it's important for us. We really try hard to make products that are top of the line for what you're paying for them, versus what you compare them to. And, the outlet again for folks who, maybe need to save up a bit to get what they want. It just gives them an opportunity to discount. A lot of them are like, blemish free. We put stuff in here that has no damage whatsoever. And, there can be some fairly significant discounts, especially around the holiday drive time periods.
Yep.
there's a lot of good stuff to choose from here too. So bunch of subwoofers. If you're on a tight budget and you need, you're looking for that sub, that just might just be an open box, So looking to save a little bit of money or $200 off of this PV16 or SP16, excuse me.
And
Just
also, if you're going dual and you've already bought the first one, we offer a 5% discount when you go dual. But if you've already owned the sub and you're buying a second one, we'll apply a 10% discount to that second one, as sort of a after the fact built in. Thanks for going dual. So there's little ways that we
Oh,
try to
okay.
offer additional
That's good to
value,
know.
like the loyalty program. We call it our Sound Points. You can earn credit towards future purchases, even by doing things like following us on Facebook. So there's a lot of little ways that even with the URP that we try to find some savings for folks, and then system discounts as well.
so one thing that uh, a lot of people may not know about SVS is you guys actually make some really good cables too. I purchased uh, cables from you guys a while back, and it's got like a nice sheathing on the outside of it. Do you make in in wall cables? Because I know that this one's not the fire rated, or is it?
It's not. We don't make in-wall, although it is on our roadmap now because of folks like you who have been asking us about it, and we want to deliver on that. And I think a lot of people will be surprised to hear that cables sorry, the accessories are the fastest growing part of the SVS business. It's really, not in terms of like how much total revenue, but like just the pace at which they're picking up steam has been a real I wouldn't say surprise, because again, it delivers on everything that SVS tries to do. But when you've seen some of these cables at some of these hi-fi shows and what
Hmm.
they're asking for them, and you get a product that can offer you a compromise-free performance solution, and still look and feel good and have that sort of high-end appeal to it, it becomes something where you want that consistency. And so like they want they all have that same kind of braided sheathing, our HDMIs, our speaker cables, our subwoofer cables. And I think some people, crave that kind of consistency, especially audiophiles. We know how, let's say, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess anal is probably not a good word to use, but like persnickety. How about that? Persnickety.
Yeah.
Those hi-fi enthusiasts can be. So matching cable,
Yeah.
covers can be one element in there.
People can be very particular. What I like about them is they are, first and foremost, they feel way higher quality or just as high quality as $1,000 cables, and they're flexible, because a lot of the times you'll get, like, I've bought stuff off of, Amazon, where it's like, okay, cable's great, it works, but it's like, it's like you're straight up bending a wire. I mean, it works, it's just, but it's not, doesn't have that feel and that finish and that flexibility of,
this ones look really good. Like, I think all my HDMI cables and XLR cables, and I think some of my subwoofer cables are all the SVS.
Now,
and they look really good.
On the roadmap, are there going to be other color options? Because the blue looks great, and it is the main color of what I see on the website. But, man, it would be cool to have other colors.
You're not going to get red. You're not going to get red.
It's the SVS blue, so I'm going to have to say probably not on that one.
Paul wants pink cables.
We're not just doing cables.
I'm gonna buy a bunch of them, and I'm gonna dye them.
You're gonna dye them pink,
and then I'll say, "See, look what you."
Tell you what, we'll sell cable wraps. That will be our big thing, like a vinyl or some kind of wrap that you can put on your cable, customize it.
Yeah.
And,
so another item that I've actually purchased a while ago is these isolation feet. These things are phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you have a door rattling or you have something, something vibrating, and you put these on your subwoofer, a lot of that rattling will go away. Maybe not all of it, because you'll hit certain frequencies that will make certain things rattle in your cabinets or whatever. But I mean, these things are absolutely awesome. Can you talk a little bit about these?
Yeah, so as simple as they look, we actually went through quite an engineering process to find the right I'm going to butcher this, durastomer. I don't know. It's rubber basically, but there's a certain consistency with that, the rubber footing part of it, that really helps decouple the subwoofer, so you're not getting any of that vibrational energy shifted into the floor and into the walls. And they fit any model of subwoofer and any brand really. They come with a couple different thread sizes, but you can also just use like a double-sided command strip and stick them to the bottom of a subwoofer. And like I said, they decouple it, so you're not getting any of that room rattle. And a lot of people also report, it cleans up and offers you sort of tighter bass. You're getting more of that visceral impact because the energy is now being transferred into the air. So you're feeling it a little bit more of that like chest compression. I don't want to overhype that part of it. It's more about the decoupling angle.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have people use them on turntables and other, electronics that are sensitive to vibrations, because again, it sort of removes the room from any part of the performance, which is beneficial. And then if you're our VP operations, he uses them on his dryer, because his dryer shakes his upstairs. And so, hey, if there's creativity, there's a way to use it. But we typically recommend them for subwoofers, and people put them on speakers and things like that too. If you have
I just bought a pack. I just bought a pack just last week to use on a different brand subwoofer I own, and it worked. It worked for that brand too. So yeah, it's good that it works with almost. I use them for my pair of PB2000 Pros that I have, and yeah, they work really, really good. And to use them for dryers, I never thought about that.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something just in case my projector actually vibrates, because I built the hush box, and I haven't, I'm still working on my theater. That's the running joke around here. But once I'm hoping that, with the amount of bass and everything else that I have in the room, that the projector's not going to vibrate. So I actually was considering, putting these underneath of the projector too, to see if it would dampen any vibrations.
But
So
would you now
That
glue
certainly
them
wouldn't
on?
hurt.
Because
I'm
surely you're
happy
not
to
going to
send you a
screw
set, Don, and
them.
you can experiment with that.
yeah, absolutely.
This brings a question, because after seeing those feet, would same question, two different products. Subwoofers and the feet. You guys ever gonna make those in white?
These isolation systems in white,
Yeah.
probably not. Yeah, I don't think so. You could probably paint them though. I mean, I would think they're.
Yeah,
You
you could paint it. And the subwoofer, the gloss white subwoofer. I mean, I don't know that
know.
anybody the
Don't you
I
have
mean,
the
we
mini
are,
is
but
in gloss, right? The
The
micro.
mini,
Micro,
the
yeah,
micro,
our
the
right?
micro and
micro
our
is,
SB
yeah,
1000
that's what
Pro.
I'm saying. But the bigger brands that would go with your Evolution series, yeah, they do have that. But
And
I
I
guess the
think based
question,
on
yeah,
maybe
it,
based on what we've seen with the Evolution speakers, the white gloss is becoming a lot
It might
more
be a good
appealing.
pair, man. It might just pair with the gloss whites, for some. But I mean,
Hmm.
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Most people spend time trying to darken their room and make it look like they are bees. So I don't know if they
yeah,
want
yeah.
all white.
I
But
guess it
for
would
like
be
a
a
living
question.
room setup, though, it will be
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, no,
I
I
With
have
the
white
wow
speakers for my
factor,
living room setup
yeah,
too. So
especially with the wow factor, right? I think for most of the wow factors, they'll rather see a white speaker that they can clean and make it look shiny
Hmm.
than
Yeah, no
black speakers
fingerprints
ever.
either. The black gloss, you notice the
Yeah.
dust, you notice the fingerprints. The white gloss, it looks clean almost all the time.
yep,
so Nick, I
absolutely.
know you're short on time here. Let's just touch on your subwoofers here. I know Ike had this
Amazing,
3000
amazing
in
speakers.
wall
Yep.
Yeah.
in for review. Um, what prompted the in wall subwoofer? And talk about a little bit of the design of this if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think really it was just it was missing in our product lineup to have an architectural solution. And I think when you look out at a lot of the options out there, a lot of them can be very expensive. A lot of them can be hard to retrofit into an existing space. And we wanted to create a solution that was a legit SVS subwoofer, but was easy to again bring into an existing project or spec into a new build project. It's got a pair of 8 inch, no, sorry, not 8 inch woofers, a pair of 12-inch woofers, a
9 inch.
850 watt RMS 2500. I'm just like reading it. 9 inch.
Sorry.
Call me. I'm making up facts on the spot. I should just read my product description here. Yeah, so it's got the sealed cabinet design. So really, we've had a lot of different executions of this. We've had people put them in ceilings. We've had people put them in the floor. We've had one person put it in their couch because it's a completely sealed cabinet. There's no back box or anything like that needed. So there's a lot of options for how you can actually install it, which was again a big priority for us. Has the Bluetooth control app as well, so you can do
Yep.
some of that finer tuning and calibration. You can see it's pretty low profile, extends down close to 30-ish hertz or so, which for a subwoofer that's this narrow is really quite an accomplishment. And what did I say? Oh, I said 20. I'm underselling it here. 22 hertz there. How about that? I would say it can deliver down to 30 hertz with authority, and then 22 hertz, you're still going to feel a little rumble. But yeah, no, this has been a huge sort of entry point for us into that custom integration world because, again, I think a lot of people, they don't necessarily care what brand it is, but with SVS and sort of our pedigree with subwoofers, now people are going to these integrators and saying, I want that SVS one. And so it creates sort of that demand for SVS with these partners who maybe have been on the fence with bringing us on in the past. So there's a lot of upside to having an architectural solution. It won't be our last one, but we'll probably, I know the question, we're probably going to stay out of the speaker game. There's just too
Mm.
many competitors out there, and the thing with speakers, you generally have to have like 5 to 8 SKUs just to even get into the in-wall architectural speaker game. But with a subwoofer like this, you can have 2, 4 of them in a system, and they can all be the same size. So it was just a much more logical entry point for us.
Yeah, I know a couple of people that have bought them, and they have actually been really impressed with them too. they work really, really
My very,
nice in
very
my space.
first, yep. My
Yeah,
very first home theater was all in walls, and in wall subs didn't exist back then unless you had like a 4 foot deep wall.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
but man,
and
I wouldn't
they
have
measure well, right?
secure back
So
then.
yeah, Paul and I did some measurement on them, and they measure really well too.
They
That's
measure pretty much right,
yeah,
like you're
like
seeing right
it's
there.
on the description right there.
Like
Yeah,
there was
that was almost like the measurement in my room. So it's
very
like
little adjustment for the room, even, which I
yeah,
was like, damn. I
yeah.
was like, these have a lot of DSP or something going on because they're already flat. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
it was almost like
that's
I
cool.
found the perfect place to put them, but
Yeah, yeah,
they're really good, and I have them almost like a near field, so they're right behind my back row seats. So when I'm watching, sometimes I just go sit at the back instead of even sitting in my MLP, and you could just feel them, you know, doing what they need to do behind. And
yeah.
yep,
They're nice.
So these actually come with the amplifier too, or is that something you have to purchase separately?
no, they come with
No,
the amp.
it's a complete package. The amplifier is paired with the subwoofer, and actually you can have a scenario where a single amp can run two of the woofer units here. So you'd have essentially four woofers, and then that just basically splits the impedance. So instead of I guess
Eight
850
800,
watts,
you
it's about
get four.
400
Yeah,
watts
so
per
yeah.
channel. But it just gives you again that more even bass response throughout the listening area if you want to go dual.
And what if you wanted to, let's say, have two of these? Like I see the dual system. Does that come with two amplifiers, or does that come with one amplifier and two speakers for this
Uh,
price here?
It's one amplifier and two speakers, and then you could run the individual subwoofer units off individual amplifiers. The price would go up. You would get more dynamic output by doing it that way, but we wanted a solution where you could again split the wattage and then have the two woofers running off a single rack mount unit amplifier.
And
Also,
is that
because I have the dual setup just like that. Are you saying that you can buy a separate amplifier for it? For example, if I
Yeah, I
wanted
mean
to.
you could power the
Oh, okay.
each woofer with its own amp if you wanted to. You're
Oh,
just
okay.
adding cost at that point, and you're
Yeah.
Do
getting the
you
benefit
guys
of more.
But you have
sell
to
the
order
amp
it.
separate?
You have to order it when you are getting that particular setup, right? So it can be tuned, or can you come back later? Can I come back later and get a separate amp?
No, actually, the amplifiers that are set up for the dual units are programmed specifically for having dual units, and we don't
Okay.
sell them on our website. So you would do this through an integrator partner of ours, or Crutchfield does sell them online and offer
Yeah.
support for people who want to DIY. But yeah, they would be separate SKUs essentially if you wanted to do a single amp and a single subwoofer.
so you could just buy two single subwoofer systems basically if you wanted to for
Correct.
Yeah.
for
Yep,
$4,000,
that's
right?
correct.
Because they would be tuned, and then the dual system is 3,000. So essentially it's $1,000 more. Or would we be able to pick up an amp from you? Or at a separate amp. Do you sell just the amp alone or no?
No.
We don't, not on our site. It would have to be again through one of our dealer or
Integrator.
integrator
Yeah.
I
partners.
see.
And this is the one product where because there's generally labor involved, like there's a little bit of a conversation you can have with whoever your integrator is, and if one of these scenarios you wanted to propose, they could work with you on that. But yeah, it's the price we have listed here is just the standard price for the actual product, and then there would still be some installation costs as well. And,
Yeah.
I
yeah, we
have
can-
two spots in my theater that's calling these speakers names.
You will trust me. You will like them. I have them just right behind the wall here, and you see everything I have behind me on the wall. I had to use like one of those glue whatever to hold them because when that sub starts heating, the wall here just starts. It's like
You
yep.
gonna install yours in your seat risers or your tray ceiling? Which one of
That
those spots?
that would be actually that's another good idea. I got my
Oh,
own hover easy right underneath of the put these right underneath of the riser would be awesome for some near field.
no
Okay,
doubt.
so let's talk about M-Wave, right? That's the event that's coming up next week, and Paul and Don and myself are going to be there. Well, Paul already lives 30 minutes away from there, but SVS is going to be out there. You want to give us an idea? What does SVS bring into the show?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have the ability to switch between stereo and home theater. I know this is a very home theater centric crowd who will be at M-Wave, and we respect that. But we're going to bring the Pinnacles for the front, left, and right, the center. Four of our Ultra Elevations, bringing in height effects, and then two of the Ultra Evolution bookshelf speakers in the doing the surround duty. And then we'll have a pair of our PB16 Ultra flagship ported subwoofers handling the low frequency. There's a bit of a tractor pull. Like, I know that they bring out the big guns, and we thought about 4, 6 maybe, but from what I'm hearing, the room next to ours, who's an integrator, I believe it's Kincaid, they're toying with the idea of doing 6 SB16 Ultras stacked. I'm not promising. This was an idea that he pitched a while ago, and I'm not sure if that's actually coming to fruition. But I think he was going to do it in a stereo setup, so there'll be no lack of low frequency energy there. And then for the front end, I think we're using a Marantz Cinema 30 to power that multi-channel system.
So for the home theater space, how many subwoofers? Because I think there was a question in the chat asking if you were bringing 4 PB16s versus 2 from last year.
Well, I'm not really sorry, but it's also, we're pairing with NFM here, and that it's something that they want a, I mean, I guess you could call that reasonable system, and not go too crazy. And I think people will be pretty impressed with what we can do with 2 PB16s. And I know there's 4, 6, 8. You just got increasing benefits there, but I think it's especially with these speakers and how capable they are. You're not going to notice a big drop off versus a system that had 4.
And I mean, you guys still tripped the power last year at M-Wave, right? So
yeah, a little bit. I'm hoping they got that fixed up. We're bringing a conditioner this time to mitigate against that.
Somebody tripped the power, So yeah,
multiple times,
not just once. So.
Well, I want to invite you, gentlemen, to bring some of your Blu-ray discs too, because the Larry, our normal guru, will not have his full book of discs. So if you have specific scenes content you want to bring,
can we bring it digitally? Because I'll
we're running a Blu-ray player, so it would easiest option would be to just bring a Blu-ray and know what scene you want to go to, and I'll warn my team. I'll say, hey, there might be some folks bringing a couple Blu-ray scenes to play. They'll have some.
And I've witnessed that demo a couple times that he goes through, and he does that so masterfully. I mean, it's almost like he's done it 1,000 times or so.
Well, that is one that we have tried to curate, because there are certain demos that acquit themselves really well to specific channels in the home theater. So we'll go from like the Spider-Man that really brings in that sort of 3-dimensional sound field with voices painting overhead from the Atmos elevation speakers. And then you'll do sort of a, front stage focused female vocalist, something like that, where the center channel, the natural tonality, the voicing, you play up that. And then other, is more a matter of like the seamless transitions from all the channels. So we try to paint a picture of, how each channel plays its own specific role, but then always bring it back to the fact that it has to be a complete, ecosystem that's sort of playing off each other.
So just want to say hi to Scott from Scotty-O here. Welcome. Thanks for joining us, Scott. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me hop in. Hey, Nick, how's it going? Can't wait to see you guys out at M-Wave again.
We're psyched. We could not be more excited to be out there. It's I'm just so impressed by how many people have asked, if we're going, and just how the thing has grown. Like, good for Michael and everyone putting it together. You guys are a huge part of it too.
Yeah,
definitely. You guys had a killer room last year, so I'm excited to see what you bring this year.
Yep. Be better.
Yeah, look, that room that they had last year, I mean, and I hate to even use the word budget, but it was a fantastic sounding room for a third of the price of a lot of the other rooms that were there.
Third?
I mean,
it was less than a third.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't want to.
You could have bought that whole room for the cost of one subwoofer in some of those other rooms.
And yet,
Correct.
most people were
And
sitting down there and just soaking it
A
in because
third is like not even close.
Yeah,
I
if
Like,
you
made
guys,
it
if you
videos
sounded
guys have
there,
not,
man.
fantastic, right? It sounded
if you guys have
fantastic.
not heard SVS, make
yeah,
sure
it
you
is
go out
definitely
and you
worth
hear
a
it.
listen. Yep.
Yeah, they're definitely really uh, great sounding speakers. They can fill a room. We had a blind test, speaker test, and I believe SVS. There were several of them done. I believe SVS finished first in one of them, second in another one. So I mean,
Yeah.
they were right there neck and neck and there was like 15 speakers or 9 speakers, something like that we were trying out on a turntable at M-Wave last year. So, I mean, they're just fantastic sounding speakers. So good that Paul here was talking about on the way home. Those are my new speakers, So he's definitely interested in those speakers. So, but yeah, it's definitely an experience to go into one of their rooms. I've been into a couple of the different rooms now. One at M-Wave, one at the Florida Audio Expo, and I mean just fantastic sounding speakers, and I will say, I affordable for what you're getting. You're getting the most bang for your buck out of these speakers. They're just fantastic. So
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
really appreciate you saying that. I mean, that's our ethos. We want to bring, world class immersive experiences, but a little bit more inclusive price. And I think you don't really get the feeling that you're compromising, even when you're getting, what would be our entry level subwoofer or speakers. Like, there's just not a model that we sell that's like, oh, I feel like I'm really taking a step down. It's it's what your budget is, and what you can fit into, but you're certainly getting performance that's on par with equally expensive, if not much more expensive gear.
So I know we have already got you over time, so I want to be respectful of you, and I apologize for that. I do have 2 questions for you, and I don't know if you're going to be able to divulge this information or not. 18-inch subwoofer. Any plans?
I'm not at liberty to share product
Okay.
development plans now, but you can rest assured we're always working on bigger and more badass things. So time will tell. But we still got current model products to sell, so I can't be saying anything that would get in the way of that. But you
Yeah.
can rest assured our development team is working very hard to bring some new, exciting, bigger, badder products to the market.
And I'm sure it's difficult whenever you already have such a good product at an excellent price. It's like, well, we can't just come out with something that's bigger that sounds exactly the same as our smaller product. So you got to go, you got to bring it. If you ever do an 18, you can't just be like, okay, it's 18 inches, sounds the same as a 16. You got to make it just destroy.
Yeah. There's got to be
One other.
legit
Go ahead.
technology
I'm sorry.
advancements and
Yeah,
things like that.
exactly.
No, I'm just saying,
It's
like, that's
got to be
it speaks to our speakers. The Ultra Series is 12 years old, and we weren't going to roll out a couple new finishes and like a trim ring on the drivers and be like, okay, look what we did.
It's
like,
brand
no.
new. Yeah. You got to make it to where people have to question, do I keep my SB16s or PB16s, or do I upgrade?
Mhm.
You gotta make them decide. You gotta make them quander that at minimum.
And that's why we won't have like 20 product launches in a year, because they're very methodical and they're very much an advancement. And then,
Excellent.
and our
Whoever
pedigree
the
is to then
marketing
take
team
that
is, I
flagship
applaud the
technology
marketing
and bring
team.
it down. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
I
my
applaud the
second
marketing.
question that I had: Ultra Evolution wireless speakers.
You know,
Any I really like the looks of the Prime wireless speakers. I'm actually really considering setting up a front stage of 3 of them. Do you sell them individually to where I could do 3? Because I know they come in pairs, and will they work that way? And then secondly, any plans to do the Ultra Evolution, the newer model, in a wireless?
So they are only sold in stereo pairs, so you wouldn't be able to do 3. Actually, the original version we offered the ability to just buy the powered one, and then you could actually have those in a 1-2 LCR. But this current version is in stereo. I don't think so. I mean, I think that one I can actually shut down for now. So I don't think there'll be an ultra, uh, like an ultra wireless pro, something like that, coming in the immediate future. I would never say never, because I think there's, certainly an opportunity there. But we have some other things in the works that will precede that happening in the near future.
All right, perfect.
Nice.
Well, I appreciate you divulging what you could uh, to us, and like I said, I want to be respectful of your time. So,
Here's
um,
one for you. I'll give you this one. This is breaking news, and you're not going to get that excited about it. But new SoundPath accessory coming down the pipeline: a speaker level subwoofer adapter. People with vintage AV gear, AV receivers and amps. They don't have the RCA output, or they don't have a dedicated sub out. And this is, if you look for these, there is like one version on Crutchfield that is like this open, like cabinet thing. You can see the circuitry, and it's like very not attractive, and you have to kind of like screw it into the wall. So this is just, again, like our sound path is about solutions. We have the wireless adapters, we have the isolation systems, cables,
Yeah.
and this is just a solution that we know will benefit some of those folks who have older vintage
That's
gear.
nice. So line
And they
level.
want to add a sub.
So can you explain that a little more for people that don't fully understand what?
Yeah, I just like a
product.
lot of older components before subwoofers were really popular, or even just some esoteric gear that they sell now doesn't have dedicated sub outs or line level outputs. They'll only have speaker level outputs, and this adapter will essentially allow you to take your speaker cables, run them through this adapter, and then it outputs RCA. That you then connect into a subwoofer, so you can now have an SVS experience with some of that older vintage gear, and not have to replace it or sacrifice having a subwoofer. Or we do have a model, the SB1000 Pro, which does have speaker level inputs, but for those that don't, this is the pipeline to be able to add those in.
So you already
Well,
got a question on that. Is
Yeah.
this
It will
going
be
to be
full
full
range.
range?
Yes.
That's already a popular product.
I mean, I know this is something where it's like, you know what, like it's a solution. It's not going to be super expensive. It's not going to like make or break us, but it's like, we want to take care of people who, want to own our stuff. And if that's an impediment, all right, we'll design it, like, cause it doesn't really exist. Like, we have no problem recommending other brands' products if they solve the problem, but the solution, I think there's like one or two out there, just leaves a lot to be desired. And so we
Yep.
wanted to do a, high fidelity solution that doesn't compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does it have
it
any
solves a specific
crossover?
problem,
Yeah.
so that's good.
Will it have
Exactly.
any crossover? That'll be the first question anyone will ask, especially with the older stuff, because generally what you do with those is you're trying to get more bass out of a speaker that you already like the mids and the highs from, or get more dynamic range. But you're not going to be able to really do that with a pair of speakers unless you have like a high pass crossover. Will it have a high pass crossover at all in that line level adapter?
So we would just recommend doing the calibration through the Subwoofer app. So you can set, basically the crossovers, the filters, adjust phase
Yeah, the
polarity, all the
subwoofer.
different
Yeah,
things.
we'll do its thing. But as far as
Yeah.
like, you'll be pairing that with line level going to the speakers. Will the line levels going to the speakers, because that'll be the pass through, right?
Mhm.
But will it have the ability to do a selectable crossover to the actual speakers, or will that just be a straight through type of connection?
I would like to put you in touch with our designer. Now, that's a question that I can't
Yeah.
answer at this point. Well, it'll be launching in about a month. So that's a great question that I've now jotted down, and I will be bringing, because
Yeah,
I
because
agree
that
with
will
you.
be
That is going to be
the
an important
number
point.
one question, because that would be the best product for anybody that has any speakers that can't go below 30 hertz, let's say, and you want to go down to 20, right? And you want to, or maybe you want to cross it over at 80 and get even more, or 120, and just get that much more dynamic range and be able to place that speaker where there's less, nulls. One sub, you could place right next to you or something, example. But
Yeah.
if you don't high pass the speakers themselves, well, now you might distort those in comparison to the subs, if you're playing it loud at lower volumes. Yeah, either way, it will still provide a great benefit to people. But for people that want to add that, that SB16 to that
Mhm.
old vintage speaker that they have. Yeah, they're gonna need a high pass, to
Yeah,
those.
that'll definitely come up, and I'm gonna get an answer, and I'm gonna bring it back to you before the launch because I think that is a very a good thought and something that a lot of people want to address.
Yeah,
So we have one other
that's
question
an
here.
awesome product. By the way. Either
Thank
way,
you.
that's an awesome product because you're right. You got these $5 parts that are like, well, I could have put that together from
Exactly.
from Radio Shack parts. Like what? But
If you can
yeah,
find a Radio Shack, but yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Good
no,
luck.
so there's a question about the trade-in. Revan Slim says, does it have to be a 1-to-1 trade-in, or could I trade in 8 speakers towards 4 speakers?
I will work with you. I mean, that's what's great about SVS is like our service team. If you want to, trade in 9 speakers for one subwoofer, I'm sure we could make something work. So it doesn't have to be like an upgrade, even an upgrade. It could be an older model that was more expensive when you bought it. Maybe you got a smaller living space now. So it's just a matter of every case is treated differently based on the condition of the product. Do you have the boxes? And we'll work with you to figure something out.
Very good. That's
And I
that's
think
a
we
heck of a
had,
customer service.
yeah, I think we had one more that I started. So let's just see if we can get an answer for this one. If it's something from the outlet store, can you still upgrade from the
Yeah,
SVS
I mean
outlet?
everything in
Yeah.
the outlet still carries the 5-year warranty, except for our wireless Prime Wireless Pro has a 2-year unconditional warranty, but everything else that carries the 5-year and all the benefits that all of our A stock products have as well. So trade up program included.
Yep. Yeah, you can't. I've never heard anyone knock SES customer service ever.
Well, we're super proud of that, and call us up, tell us your listening recommendations. Keep it brief if you do, but
Can
we
I call
love.
you and talk to you about my fiber internet if I want to?
Yeah,
I think
his
that might be where
5
their
gig.
knowledge drops off a little bit. So
Oh,
I don't know how
man.
much they'll be able to speak to that, but sure, they'll be polite at least.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, man, we appreciate you coming, Nick, and
You're welcome to hang out if you want more. I don't know
Yeah.
what I know you were kind of under a time crunch, but we definitely appreciate you joining the show. I can't wait to hear these new speakers in a bigger room at M Wave. It's as you mentioned, you're going to have a separate dealer there, plus I believe it's Nebraska
To
Furniture
China,
Mart
yeah.
there too.
NFM is going to
So
be there.
yeah, so I can't wait to hear these. I definitely going to get some footage of and pictures to bring back. We're gonna, just for those of you that are listening, all of us on the panel will be at M Wave Thursday. We're going to be doing a live show from there, so we're going to try to capture some brands setting up their booths and rooms and maybe possibly get an interview or two if they have time. I know they're going to be under crunch time right then and there, but well, if somebody's willing to speak to us, we'll kindly talk to them as quick as possible, because I know they'll be under a lot of duress at that time.
Yeah, setup day is always a bag
Yeah.
of challenges, but it's fun, and we'll have a lot of help from the NFM team, which we're excited about. And I would love to come back on and get your impressions after the show, and
Yes,
hear what you guys thought about the
you are
demos and just in
definitely.
general. I'm super
Yep.
bummed I can't make it, but next year I've already cleared my calendar. There will be no family reunions next year, so I'll be able to come out there. And I did want to say happy Father's Day early to any of the dads out there. I hope you
Yep.
guys get a lot of attention, and it isn't just an afterthought for you.
A new tie is coming.
Hopefully, a new pair of SVS
Hey,
speakers.
There you go.
on the
That's
elevation
nice. Yep.
speakers,
No, and I'm
man.
happy.
You gotta
with
direct them
Just
to the
keeping it
website.
keeping it real.
Absolutely. I went to a father-son karate thing with my youngest son, so I got kicked in the nuts today. That was essentially
Oh,
my
man.
Yeah.
That's
it was
a
Happy Father's Day.
gift I could go without.
like holding this pad. I'm like, why are you're not kicking the pad? Like, oh, it keeled over, but it's all good. But thanks again, gentlemen, for having me on. I had a lot of fun, and let's do it again after.
Yeah,
after
absolutely. We're going to
Yes.
have like a wrap up on the 27th. So if you have the link now, you're more than welcome to jump in and out whenever you want. You see Scott jumped in the middle of the show. We just wanted to be like a Zoom call, basically. So, and everybody that has the app, that have been on the show before. Same thing with everyone there. You guys feel free to jump in and out too. So Nick, definitely appreciate you. We'll definitely be in touch once I get my theater showroom completed. So yeah, look at Paul.
Don't hold your breath, man. Don't hold your breath.
The 18s will be out. The 18s will be out of the market by the time.
I will tell you that I took a vacation July 4th and then the whole week after that. So there's going to be a lot of work getting done that week.
Let's put it this way. I knew Don was coming, so I literally put 5 extra screws on every stud in my drywall because I didn't want to stealing mine.
Down hatches.
Yeah. I was
Thanks,
like,
Nick.
man.
Appreciate you.
Take care of yourselves.
Everybody, go to the SVS site. Give them some support. Go to their YouTube channel also. Subscribe to their channel and give them some support there. So thanks again, Nick. Appreciate you
guys.
joining.
Really appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one, man.
Cheers. Have a good one. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
So, guys, I am super pumped. I'm like gushing with excitement for M-Wave. I don't know about you guys, but Paul, I gotta ask you.
Can I just kick Scott?
Yeah.
Just kick
Go
Scott
ahead,
out.
Yeah, he owes me a freaking T-shirt, man. Time to kick you out. You need to go to the green room.
I gotta fix this light, man. It was driving me nuts, but I didn't want to disrupt.
Bring up the itinerary. Bring up the itinerary for people that
that are coming down
don't
to
know
M-Wave.
about how the basically I am the sponsor of the after show. And
well, you're doing it during the show. The after show during the show.
That's true. I'm not even. It's just for a good time with good people. That's what it boils down to. And for people that came last year that hung out with me. Now, granted, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I that does not offend me. I get it. But if you
you're not even a cup of water. What are you talking about, tea?
So you took your 5th vacation for July 4th weekend. You're rocking up this holiday hours, man.
Yeah, there you go. But seriously, it's I don't know that Michael. I put all of the after hours, and it's going to be an experience again. Not necessarily audio, but if anyone that's into drinking or having a good time, I have basically a brewery tour set up for after.
I'm trying to find it here.
Yeah, I picked up my phone. I looked at it on the Facebook chat. I just put my phone back. I'm like, this dude, man. I put my phone
people
down.
were like, what? There's more events in the after show.
I'm like, nope.
If you go to your Facebook, you can click on image.
Yeah, it should be on the feed. You can download.
And then you can just scroll through
I got it. I'm sharing it now.
Yeah. Okay. Let me pull this.
Just share this for the people that don't know.
Oh, let me get a full screen.
It's so long and full of drinks that you can't even read it.
I know, man.
I mean, look at this.
I got drunk trying to read it, man.
This guy is. I mean,
I wish I could zoom in on that thing, but I got drunk trying to read the whole thing.
I'm trying to zoom in on it now. Let me see here.
Yeah, you might have to zoom and scroll. But yeah, no, I put together a full itinerary for the.
I was like,
and
dude,
we're
going to Kansas City. We're not going to Belgium, man. Like, it's supposed to be Kansas City, not Belgium.
Let's put it this way. This is my final stake in the ground for Ryan saying, "Oh, there's no beer in Kansas City." I'm like, what? This is, let's put it this way. The first day, those are all within the same 4 blocks. That's all within walking distance.
So you're looking at Friday night starting at what time? 6 o'clock. What time does M-Wave? What time does M-Wave? M-Wave, I think M-Wave ends at like 8 o'clock. So
yeah, can we at least eat dinner or something?
Can we at least go? Can we at least?
Oh we'll be. You guys will have to eat on your own, man. No, there'll be eats and stuff on these events here. There's food at most of them. So it's not something that you'll be snacking and whatever. And this isn't a hard set, thing, right? This is, hey, these are all the places that we're going to visit if time permits and we're having a good time. There are so many places and locations and foods all around. And, a lot of people may, again, I'll probably print this out or something. Yeah, with water for sure.
Yeah.
And, it'll be something like, hey, we're going to be here. And I'll probably start it'll be part of the home theater hub, right? Like you'll just join on your phone on the home theater hub, and we'll let you know in the chat, hey, this is where we're at currently. This is what we're doing, and we'll move. And I'm telling you, some of these places are like Casual Animal, right? It is literally a brewery that's got a really cool vibe. It's like a jungle themed vibe, and it's really.
So what time
It's
do the
just-
bars close there?
I don't know, 3 or 4 in the morning.
Okay, so can we push this time back to at least to 8 o'clock to at least when M Wave ends so that we can
Well,
go
does
there?
pull up the M Wave schedule? Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is fully flexible. I can.
Yeah, it's flexible. By the time we get to number 4, all plans will be out the window, and then we'll start freestyling.
No. See, how you do a brewery tour, you go and you don't drink 5 beers at each location. You go there, you choose a genre or a style, if you would, a style of drink that you like, and you have a small. You don't get a 32 ounce, You get like whatever, a 8 ounce or a 6 ounce style of beer. And what we generally do even is each person, you have to get together with a group generally, right? And each person will buy around at each place we go.
Number
Yeah,
5, I don't think it's going to be
like
very
we did the
nimble.
last time, right?
The more people that go, the more places we end up going. And you're not even necessarily going to be there for 30 minutes, right? It's, okay, everybody gets around, hey, if the service there is instantly.
Man, we're going to be out there chugging our beer, man. Like, it's going to take them 30 minutes to sell the beer to us, and then we only got 5 minutes to drink it.
You know what? If I would be happy if there's 20 people hanging out and following, dude, that's an awesome time. If that's the case, the following year, I will literally schedule a time at each location, because that's what's really cool about the beer community. They are even better, I will even say that, than the audio community, because if you hey, no one is trying to compete with anyone else. They're like, hey, we're all just have our own style. We love our own thing. We, it's like, hey, we all listen to our own speaker. We all, have our own thing, and nobody's judging anyone. They're just like, oh yeah, okay, what are you guys doing? Oh yeah, we're grouping together with 5 other or 10 other breweries, and we want to have this, and this happen at this time. It will totally. I will totally do that next year. But at this year, we're going to crash the party at each one of these places. We're going to be like last time, where we started with like 3 people. Then the next night we had like 8 people. Then we had like 10
All right,
people.
it took me a second to find the schedule. Go ahead and pull that up.
Okay, let me do that.
So Thursday, we got all the home theater tours.
Yeah.
4 p.m. to 5 p.m. is registration. 5:30 to 8 p.m. is the experience rooms. So that's why I say, push that back to 8 o'clock to start.
That's definitely not a hard, fast rule for sure.
So, but yeah.
Anything, Paul, is there anything good playing at the Live Nation that weekend?
It's nothing's confirmed there. I was going to look that up, and it's I'm sure it probably will be something maybe, but that's kind of hit or miss type of deal because I didn't even know I was aware of what was going on that night, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was 2 week in advance type of deal, which I guess at this point we are within that 2 week time frame. But
Yeah, so if you guys are interested, after find us. We'll be there. I'll be
yeah,
there
just
Wednesday.
look up the Home Theater Hub Facebook thing, and that's where we'll do all the communications on this.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
so Don, I did share a link. There's something I wanted to talk about. Can you pull that up since you're already sharing?
Yeah, let me.
Let's see. I put a link in the
This one?
chat. Yes. So it looks like Unfold. I don't know. Has anyone tried to use this remote? It looks like they're coming out with a remote.
I think Michael is getting it in for review. It was on his Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks
And
cool.
yeah, I saw a notification for it, and I was like,
The question is, the first question that everybody's going to ask, is that a touchscreen?
it does look like a touchscreen from the.
And
Look,
so does the Sofa
from-
Baton, but it's not.
No, I
Right.
think this might be. I could be wrong, but it might not be.
And I don't know if that's not everybody's cup of tea. Like, I'm kind of neutral on the touchscreen.
Yeah, I don't even want touchscreen, especially
Yeah,
with having
I'm
young
not
kids. But-
if I want touchscreen, I don't even want a remote. I'll just use my.
But I think the design
iPhone.
The looks kind of sleek. The price point is also interesting. It's not as bad as I thought. What, €279? So it's obviously cheaper in dollars.
$1,000 or something.
No, it's €279.
Oh, 200. Well, €279. Oh, okay. I
So
thought you said
it's cheaper in
$79.
dollars. No. So the pre-order is starting on the 21st of this month. But I was just curious if anyone had used any of the previous models and
Oh, there's a touch slider, kind of like the older Apple MacBook Pros.
The older pros. Yeah.
yeah, it's something else I found interesting is if you look at some of the pictures, right, it looks like it's a straight remote, but then you see some of them and it looks
Got like
carved.
a curve. Yeah.
So it's like, is it? I
Wonder if
don't
it's
want to say it's
Android
flexible,
based.
but
Okay.
let's see.
It doesn't say touchscreen. I don't see anything that says touchscreen.
It had a
yet.
touch slider.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the bottom half, it looks like where the
But look at that
right
bottom
right there.
screen right
That's
there.
Yeah,
that's
that's a
a
slider.
touch.
Yeah,
Look
That's
to
a
the right
touch.
of that though. You see like it has the color
the
selection.
color
You see
wheel.
So I'm wondering if it is a touch screen, right?
Oh,
It has to be because
Move
you're
that-
not going to
move that
use
around.
That one has
keypads to navigate colors.
Well, you can
weird.
use the arrow keys to move that around just as easy though.
Man, I mean,
Maybe this little joystick here moves it around in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, if it was a
oh no,
joystick,
look, go down. It
I
says
am
it there. It says,
all about.
look, it says it right there, high res touch screen. So scroll up
There you
right to
that-
where
yep.
there's if you scroll up to where there's like information on the Wi-Fi settings. Let's see. I'm looking at my page, but it does say
Yeah, do a
it's
command
supposed,
F.
yeah, right there. See it? High res
High-res
touch
touch
screen.
Okay.
Iris. Oh yeah, there you go. So yeah, so it's full touchscreen. Yeah. So that's gonna.
It even has haptic feedback. So
Ooh. Damn.
yeah, for the price point, it's not bad. I might be tempted to take a look. I mean, it's only pre-orders though, but you never know when it's gonna come out, and it's the whole.
Yeah, it's the whole Kickstarter thing.
It's a whole
or
Kickstarter
what?
thing. Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
You put your money in and then you never get it. You're like, what? But at the same time, there's been a lot.
But it's less than it's less than $250. But it looks
and is
interesting.
this their second version? Yeah, or third?
Third.
Well, it says 3, so I like to think it's the third one.
Yeah, so it's not like it's a okay. So that's cool.
And I think the whole control is completely localized, right? So you
So it'd
don't
be
need
$299 US if
you
you
don't
do the
need any
conversion.
third party. Yeah, $299 for US, because and it's all localized control, so you don't need any third party. Yeah, but that's something I was looking at. Thought it was interesting. I know, there's been a lot of conversations around remotes and just
Yeah,
controls, and everyone is trying to fill that market that has been left.
by
Yeah.
Harmony.
Yep. So
Yeah. No, I
they're not
mean,
doing a really good job, but they'll get there. I mean,
it's going to take a while. I mean, Harmony did that. They had so many versions of their remote come out. Also, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's going to take a while for someone to get even just to get to where they were, and then
and
to
dude,
try to surpass
you
it.
can actually watch what you're watching on the remote. If you scroll down to the very bottom of that page,
Oh,
Yep, I was just looking at that.
you can
that's
actually.
crazy.
That is wild.
Well, is that the pause screen or I don't know.
Yeah, that might be, because I know like even the Control 4, it shows pictures and stuff like that, and it shows the timeline. So maybe this is just the artwork. It's saying watch TV, right? So that's probably what the command is, because
Yeah.
same thing with the Control 4. You the first thing you do is say watch Apple TV, watch whatever device, Kaleidoscape, whatever, Panasonic, whatever it is. So that's probably what that's set up for, and then you're getting artwork for the around the world Tokyo, and then it's giving you a progress bar. I don't think I mean, if you can
That would
watch
be
it,
wild if it
yeah,
can show you something. That would be crazy, man.
I mean, I don't see how it would be able to do that.
Yeah, if it does that, take my money, man. If
So it does have a backlit. It is backlit, which is good.
Oh, it's Linux based, Scott. It's not Android.
I saw that. Unfold OS is running that.
Yeah. 4
But
gigs, 32
Android's
gigs.
Linux as well based. So,
Is it open source though, to where other people can
I don't think
can write to it?
because it's
portions of it,
unfolded
if it's
OS.
Linux, it has to be. Some portions of it are open source.
Designed in Denmark, engineered in Germany and Switzerland.
Man, that thing is not gonna break then. Like Danish, German, Swiss. Like,
It'll cost you $10,000 to change the batteries, though.
yeah, because you gotta import that sucker. not sold in the continental United States. That's what you're gonna get.
It looks like it's got some home automation stuff too. So bathroom
I
lighting.
like
it
their
looks like
humor.
it integrates with the Google Home stuff. Shows that it integrates with Zedo, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, what's interesting is they have a sense of humor. It's a bathroom. It's like, hey, you listening to the bathroom? You remoting the lights in the bathroom? There you go.
Yeah, please don't play that video.
That's an engineering, humor right there. That's an engineer's humor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gonna say the lead.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I know Michael posted something on his Patreon about that.
Yeah, that one looks. I mean, honestly, that, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the name.
It used to be called something else. I forgot what it used to be called. But they just changed the name to this unfolded circle remote. I mean, that is a very weird name, but I forgot maybe it was the Yayo or Yeo remote before.
Better. I like this name better than Sofa Baton. Like, what's Sofa Baton? What the hell?
I think this was called the Yayo or Yeo or something like that.
Okay,
before.
Yeah, and that probably means something in other languages or other countries.
I mean, technically, your remotes are like batons that sit on your couch all the time, right? So maybe that was
I didn't think the Sofa Baton was a bad name.
I thought it was horrible. The baton means you hand it off, right? Isn't that, or it's something
Yeah, but yeah,
just hand off a baton, right? And you're not ever handing off a remote.
I mean, it
And
depends on
sofa.
it depends on who's handling the baton, right? You could get whooped
Well,
with
Yeah,
it.
my son brings me the remote every day.
I know, right?
Change the channel. Find a
But
different YouTube channel.
it's like I don't know. It's like sofa baton. It's like, hey, I don't know. It sounds like you're saying lazy. In a way, the sofa baton, in a weird way. But I mean, it wasn't like that bad. But it was just it was just not my. I wouldn't have named it sofa baton.
So I'm looking through some of their documentation, and it
Why are you
looks like
showing us your face?
I have no clue why it's doing
Yeah,
that.
you got to get the double D. You got to get the double D. Double Dons. 2 Dons. You got to get 2 Dons in there somehow. Double D.
Okay,
I have no clue why I was doing that.
There's always a double D sneaking in.
Dun 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 do 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 do.
Speaking of Don, I wonder if he's going to be able to
Back
So
to
this integrates with Denon. So it has a discovery feature where it'll find the AVR on your network.
That's pretty cool.
Supported
wait, say that again now.
I'm reading their open source code that they've posted. So the driver discovers Denon Marantz AVRs on the network. The media player entity is exposed to the core. Supported attributes: state on, off, playing, paused, unknown, titles, albums, artist, artwork, and source.
Oh, nice.
Then they have a list of the supported commands.
Oh, it better add Yamaha and Wyatt and Music Cast, man.
Hang on, I can go look.
So quickly, what is the top 2 things you guys are looking forward to at M-Wave? I know we're excited about everything, but do you have anything in particular
SVS,
that you're
I'm
going
excited.
forward?
I've heard JTR a million times, which amazing, but at the same time, I mean, you heard 155 dB or 150 dB of JTR. M-Wave JTR isn't going to. They're not playing it at 150 dB, so. And I've had that experience. It's always a good experience, but the new SVS, I'm also looking forward to. I don't know if they're going to have any of the newer RBH. I'm interested in some of the RBH stuff, and the Ascend, or I don't know what they're going to do with the Buckeye, the main sponsor, actually. I was like, okay, how are they demoing those? So, or what are they going to do? Is that just going to be a bookend where they have all the amps and stuff like that? So
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, the Cine Mic, the guys who are coming in from Germany, I believe Germany or Denmark, Germany, I think. They kind of make like, custom grade of almost every technology.
Yeah, they take
out
like
there.
the Mad VR and
They take
make
everything
it
and
better.
put it on steroids. Yeah, which is, so I'm very interested, to see what they bring. And
it's kind of like what Zapiti did with the AudioCom when they had the reference and they sent it out. You sent it out for bigger toroidal transformers and this and that. They upgrade the stuff. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to that also.
yeah, because if you take their, let me see, put this on full screen.
now,
If you go to their website, I think they work with the companies also, right, to do this. So if you go to their website, you can see. I probably need to zoom this in, but they customize almost every product you can think of. So under their product list, you can. I need to still zoom further.
At that point, I would think the warranty would go through them. I would assume, because I don't.
Yeah, because you're paying big buck for some of this customization, but you can see they have Denon, almost all the Denons there, projectors, Barco, Epson, JVC, so they customize even the home controls. they take all of this and they just pump them like they go in there and solder these things and customize them and make them even better, including the trim of because they're bringing a trim of I think it's the 16 altitude 16 to the show.
Wow.
So it's the customized trim of that they're bringing. So that's the one that I'm kind of interested just to see. Unfortunately, it's not going to be easy to do a compare. They even have a customized Apple TV. Now I want that one. Wow.
Oh yeah, that's probably the one that has the high-end power supply and stuff like that. That gives you, I think it's like 3.
Like,
What's up, Joe?
Like, what are they adding?
Thanks for joining the chat.
What are they adding to an Apple TV to make it 900 euros, 1,000 euros? So they're adding stabilization of voltage.
Yeah, power supply.
And they're changing the main boards. And that's $1,000. Like I want an Apple TV on steroids, man.
So Joe from Joe and Tell says, nice shirt, Paul. So I had to, of course, let him know that you're a shill.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we almost kicked him out of the show.
I picked this up off of a bum on the street.
Damn, why you gotta do Chowder like that? But you really just called him a bum, man.
Did you see the comment about Don on there?
Looking like Larry King.
I gotta get this out. I gotta make sure that Don knows Miguel is moved in. He already has. He has his. And this was Monday. He has his 2-channel NHTs set up. He has laid all his. He hasn't installed his theater yet, but he's in. He's got 2 channels. He's listening, and he's never had a dedicated space. And he's just listening to 2.1 channel right now. He's like, dude, you're right. Oh man, this is amazing. Like the room, just because he has specific room dimensions, and it's more controlled space. And he's like, it's a little echo.
Click on that Lindorf.
Hey, I was just about to say they have customized Lindorf. You might want this one.
Yeah. It's only an extra,
It's $10,000.
Is that the MP40?
Yeah, that's the one you want right there.
That's the MP40.
Yep.
I'd have to see what I mean. The noise floor on the Lindorf is super low, so I'd have to see exactly what they did. I mean, they could just be dealers for these products too.
No, they're customizing them, man. So they put the Cinemac brand on them, so
yeah, I'll have to check it out. So
yep, and they could be just selling some of them, but yeah, they will be coming for the first time to the US. So I really want to see.
Now I can't unsee it. The old school Larry King. That is hilarious. God dang it! I could have gone forever without reading that comment. Now that's all I'm.
I changed it for him just so if he let me give you a Frosty the Snowman for
you. Oh boy.
You better look that up on Urban Dictionary before you say that again.
We have gone really clean on the show, so let's just keep it that way.
No Frosties. No thanks, man.
It's been a really good show, so let's keep it that way to the end.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do a lot of editing.
Let's sign out.
Man.
No, I'm looking forward to. I know we had SVS. I'm looking forward to hearing their speakers in a lot larger room. Definitely interested in checking out the fully digital Grimani system.
Yeah.
If they set it up like that, to where it's literally there's no speaker wires. It's all Cat 5 running to active speakers through the Storm processor. Or I know Trinoff can do that too, so I don't know what processor they'll be using. I'd have to look it up, but definitely looking forward to that. And I've never heard RBH, so I'm very, very interested in hearing those speakers I've heard tons of great things about them. So, and most of all, I'm looking forward to meeting some of you guys out there. So if you do see me, feel free to stop, chat. You know, um, any one of us, just feel free to stop and chat with us or whatever. But I definitely appreciate everyone's support on the channel and the show. So that's first and foremost. Just look forward to having some home theater talks with people while we're out there. As Paul graciously put that itinerary together. Trying to kill my liver that weekend, but yeah, I will partake in some of those. I can't promise that I'll be at all of those, but
No,
I
but
don't
sir.
know that we're going to hit all of them, but you know what? We will not run out of, places to go. Let's put it that way.
If we're with
Yep.
Paul, we're probably going to hit all of them. You guys know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So,
And we
so
will be
Joe
having
said
a
he heard
live.
the.
And Don, don't let Don just get your drink for you because it's
Yeah, they're going to come out with these big
going to come
mugs
back at like 14%.
lesson
with
learned.
14%.
Yeah, they
Scott's
sell
like, just pick me up
25%
anything. I'm like, okay.
ABV
Yeah.
beer, right?
It was a
Like,
chocolate beer that was like 15% alcohol.
It's like,
Yeah,
I
it
need
Yeah.
tasted
beer,
like
not
a thick whiskey
moonshine.
is what it tasted like.
Oh, it was good. It was good, but yeah, that's
No, it was
not
good.
one you want to have after the fifth one.
Right,
You're
right.
like, oh yeah, here, have this one.
Not good
Yeah.
that
3 in
night.
1. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we'll be having we'll be doing a live stream, next week, right on the show floor, wherever we find space
Yeah.
and good internet to be able to do
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna have to find good internet.
Because
Yeah,
I think the last time it was a little spotty, but I think FOMO was able to live stream the last time, so we might be able to see, So yeah, if you're out
yeah.
there
Just so
and
you know,
wherever
the
you
plan.
see us, come join us for the live stream.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, come by, stop in, say hey, sit down, have a chat, and then the week after, the following week, if you want to join and talk about your experience, shoot us an email to what's the email? Pop the email up there.
yep, I'll pull it up. It's just the
Home Theater Hub at
live.
gmail.com. Home Theater Hub live at gmail.com. Shoot us an email if you'd like to join to talk about your experience. Because we're going to be recapping what we saw, what we heard. And then obviously we're going to try to get some live video out there while we're there on Thursday, broadcasting the show. If we can, the plan is to kind of dial in with our phone, kind of set up a hub somewhere, and then, dial in with our phone and walk around, show you what's going on there. So if you're unable to attend, but by all means, if you're able to get out there, next week, purchase a ticket. I promise you it's worth it. It's definitely something that I made time for. Taking time away from my family and work and everything else like that. It's if it means that much to go away from the family and everything else, that should speak volumes about the type of show that it is. So, and just the camaraderie from everybody there. Hope to have dinner with a couple people, or enjoy partake in some alcoholic beverages with a couple people, and hope to see you guys out there.
Yep, we'll be seeing everyone. So,
all right,
great.
Well, that'll be it for this show. See you guys at M-Wave. If you're going to be there, by all means, stop and say hey. For the 31st edition of the Home Theater Hub. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great evening.
Thank you.